Hi viewers, in this video I will explain you how to create the pivot tables. I have employed data in this table that I generated in my previous videos by performing certain calculated measures. So before I create the pivot tables, I will have to convert this data into Excel table. For this we need to select the entire data by using command Ctrl Shift and space. Click inside the table and click Ctrl Shift and space, and then under Home tab go to Format as Table and click here. Here you will find different table styles: light, medium and dark. You can choose any one of them, right? I use the medium one and use this one, right? And now this is the data set that I can use for creation of the pivot tables. So viewers, I would like to explain one thing very important here, is that you should ensure that there is no blank column or blank row in this data set, and also ensure that there is no merge cells in this data set. So once you ensure all these things, then we are all set for creating the pivot tables. And now let's construct our first pivot table. Suppose we are interested to find the number of employees and their percentage in different age groups in the company. For this I create the pivot table, and for this just go to Insert, click Pivot Table, and here you see the two different options: New Worksheet and Existing Worksheet. For now I use the New Worksheet and click OK. It will take me to the new worksheet, and let me rename this sheet, and I rename it as New Pivot Tables. Okay. And viewers, this is basically the layout of pivot table that we are going to create. So pivot table has basically the two parts, and first is the pivot table itself. As you can, it tells us choose fields from the pivot table field list, and this is the pivot table field lists, or you can simply call it a field list. The upper part of the field list has the different fields, right? And these are the fields that actually has been taken from the data, from the column headers of the data, and this is the field head, data, gender, department, region and so on. So this is what the fields come from. And the lower part of the field list has four different areas, and that is the filters, columns, rows and values. So we actually drag any one of the fields to these areas, and the information is displayed in this table. Okay, so let's address our first question. We are interested to find the number of employees in different age groups. So in this case I am interested to find the employees in age groups. So I will drag the age, I will use this field age and drag it to the row areas. So here and we are interested to find the number of employees. For that I will have to use the employee ID and will drag it to the values area. All right, and you can see here that it is giving me the sum of employees ID, but I am interested in employee head count. So for this, click on this down arrow and go to value field settings. That gives me a number of options, so I can summarize the field from any of these options: count, average, maximum, minimum, product and many more, right? But I am interested to calculate employees, so I would calculate on count. So click OK, right? So this is the number of employees it has calculated actually, but I am interested to calculate employees in certain age groups. For this I will have to create the groups. For this, click here and right click group. So as you can see from here, viewers, this is the minimum age is 26 and the maximum is 60. So we simply click the create the groups, in fact between 25 to 60, 25 to 60 with the age interval of 10 years. Click OK. So this is how we create the pivot tables and calculate the number of employees within certain age groups, right? And now we can also rename these headers, the age groups. Also double click here to rename it as employee head count. Click OK. Okay, and now we want to find the percentage of employees in different age groups. Okay, for this I once again drag this employee ID to the values area and calculate the percentage. But before that I will have to calculate the number of employees, and then again I will have to go to the value field settings and click count and click OK. It will give me the number of employees. Okay, so once we have the number of employees, we can find the percentage of employees based on this data. So for this, just click anywhere in this column and right click and pivot table, go to show values as and go to percentage of column total, right? So this gives me the percentage. We can also format this values and simply again go to value, right click, value field settings, and go to number format, and then go to percentage. Then I don't require decimal places, so I reduce it to 0 and then click OK. Okay, so this is how it provides me the percentage of employees. We can also rename it as percentage of employees, right? So this is our first pivot table we have created. So my next question is, what is the number of employees working in different regions with reference to gender? Okay, let's go to the datasheet first, then go to insert and pivot table. And now I will click on existing worksheet that I have just created new pivot tables. Okay, so I click here and click OK. Right. The question involves the number of employees working in different regions with reference to gender. So the regions and genders are the two fields that I will be using in this pivot table. So I drag region to the row area and gender to the column area, right? So in order to find the number of employees, again I will be using this employee ID and will drag this employee ID to the values area. And again it is providing me the sum of employees ID, but I am interested to count the employees, so I will have to go to value field settings and then count, click count and click OK. So it will give me the number of employees and females and males in different regions. So again we can rename these headers: region, employee head count, gender. Okay, so this is how we can create the table and show the information about male and female within the different regions. So before I create the next table, viewers, I would explain you that you would have observed that once I click inside the table, the field list disappears. Outside the table, the field list disappears, and when I click inside the table, then it again comes back, right? Okay, sometimes if you click on this cross button, close, then it will not be appearing even if you click inside the table. For this you can bring this field list back two ways, right? Either you right click over here inside the pivot table and then click on the show field list, right? You will bring this back. Or second way, you just click on the pivot table analyze and go to the click here field list, so you can bring it back, right? So this is how it works. And now my third question is that I want to find the number of employees working in different departments within the different regions. So again, let's go to the data and click over here and click insert. Okay, fine, click insert and pivot table. And again I will go to the existing worksheet, the same worksheet I have created over here, and I will click here. Okay, And now I'm interested to find the number of employees working in different departments within the regions. So now I will drag region to the row areas, okay, and different departments, and I will also drag department to the row areas. So you can see the different departments coming under the different regions, right? And also, since I want to find the employee head count in these departments in the within the regions, so again I will drag employee ID in the values areas to find the number of employees. Again, it provides me by default the sum of employees ID, right? I click over here, go to the value field setting to find the count of employees, and this count, click here, click OK. So you can see I can find the number of employees in different departments within the different regions. Again, I will click here to rename this one region, and employee head count, right? So viewers, this is how we have created the pivot tables, and in the next video I will show you how to create the HR dashboard. Thank you for watching the video.